Something touched the back of my head.
Paranormal investigator Janice flies into Maine from Southern California. She wants to experience the activity in the Lamb House. Also, paranormal investigators Blake and Randell come up from New York. Blake has a YouTube channel, Paranormal Identification. They want to visit the Lamb House to witness this activity firsthand. You can watch their investigation of the Lamb House on their Paranormal Identification YouTube channel. Janice has a personal interest in this activity. She's been involved doing paranormal investigations for over 20 years. Blake and Randell bring equipment to conduct their investigation. A REM pod has never been used in the Lamb House, nor has an ambient temperature device ever been used. Blake will use these devices during their investigation. Other residents from Maine will also join in on these investigations. One of the devices that will be used is the Negaphonic app. I personally have never used this app. I prefer to stick with the PSB-7. When it comes to devices that require an app or words in a dictionary bank, I don't trust these devices as accurate paranormal evidence. However, I have seen what these spirits in the house can do at the PX box. It will also be interesting to see if they will use this Negaphonic app to communicate. I will listen closely to see if they bring up the same topics as they do on the PSB-7 or EVPs captured. I do find it interesting. I wasn't recording at the time. One of the visitors turned on the app. I put it to the test. I said to these spirits in the Lamb House, I'd like to test this device. If you are able to use this device, please say my name. Instantly a male voice clearly said Kent. Then a female voice said Kent. I will start this video out showing clips during paranormal identification use of their equipment and what they experienced so far. The house is pretty active. The spirits are responding. Things will take a turn down a very dark path.
Right off the bat, we set a REM pod up the stairs towards where like Kent's bedroom door would be at the top of the landing, and like almost immediately it started just going crazy.
So that's now also going off.
Okay, the REM pod's going off. Are you guys touching the REM pod?
The temperature change. Like, this is insane.
Can you make that go off again? It won't do it for me.
Hello?
There's nothing out here that's...
I'm scared for the basement now.
Oh, this is no joke.
Yeah.
That's full energy.
That's like loud. Yeah, check that out, Kent.
Ooh. You touching me?
Because I know you guys got a lot to say. Can you set off the REM pod again?
Just went off.
Blake. Yeah, somebody's literally... I can't tell. Is the temperature thing on? Thank you. Thank you.
Oh my god.
You might as well just shut that thing off.
6, dude.
Oh, there we go.
No.
Is that his EMF?
EMF, REM pod, everything's going
Everything
off.
is going off. Randy. Yeah, your REM pod's steadily going off. Whoa, and I feel like I just saw something out of the corner of my eye at the top of the staircase over the guardrail. Did I just see you? Did you just peek over at me?
Maybe on the couch here?
Alright, you guys, I'm standing here laughing. Have you ever seen your equipment do this before?
No, I've never seen
I'm like kind of
this.
flustered, to be honest.
I've never seen this go off in the homestead or the Erie Mansion. The
That's
other
weird.
one did once.
Was that you?
Was that
That
you or
wasn't me.
behind
I
you?
was standing right here.
That was behind him.
Behind me.
Okay.
And while the REM pod was at the top of the stairs, Blake would have his EMF detector, and he was walking around in the living room, and he kept saying, "What were you saying about the couch? You were saying like you felt like
The
someone
couch
there."
was like moving, like
Oh,
someone
was it?
sat down and like not leather, but the material crackled.
Where did that noise come from? The
That was
floor or
over the
above your
couch. I
head?
heard the couch like
Oh, I did
someone sat on it. Just look, it's like somebody's on the couch because this won't go off over here. So I just turned it on. That was
Dude, you're gonna
on.
be bumping it.
Once I get towards the couch,
You're gonna be bumping it
This
at 10
goes
people
up.
all the time, all the night.
and this is where I keep hearing the noise on the couch. I'm not near this. This is.
You guys want to head up to the bedroom?
There they go.
Yeah.
I think they're upstairs.
Yeah, they're up there.
Come sit down. Come on, right here.
Disembodied voice.
Come touch me. Come touch my hand. Come on.
They're over here touching me.
Are they?
Yeah.
Come touch me.
Disembodied voice. Hello? It's Kent.
Come on, guys. I want to talk to you. You. You.
Hey.
Okay. I've traveled a long, long way to meet you. So. What? And I really want to talk to you. What do I look like to you? When you look at me, what do you see?
When I heard what was captured here, the only thing that went through my mind is what a turkey looks like a couple days before Thanksgiving as the cook's walking out in the yard with an axe. That's all I can visualize when these spirits said, "You're not happy," and then another one says like a turkey, and then the girl goes, "That's funny." The look on Janice's face.
What do I look like to you? When you look at me, what do you see?
Edmond. Hattie. Are you guys here? Your device behind you.
As soon as you started asking questions, it started doing that.
How often do you see that going off like that? You never see it go off like that?
Yeah. That's the first time.
Edmund, is that you?
Ding.
You want to touch somebody? No. Nope.
That was plain. That was plain. Plain.
Abby, are you here? Yeah, I heard it.
What these spirits said using this necrophonic app is exactly what they said using the PSB-7 and through EVPs captured. What these spirits said about blood I find highly oppressive and extremely disturbing. A few weeks ago, these spirits brought up blood after I was scratched on the arm. Hello?
It's a grandpa right over there.
Whoa.
What was that?
Whoa.
What?
I heard
What
it.
was that behind my head?
I don't know.
Was it the furnace or was it right behind your head?
No, it sounded like
If
something.
it was the furnace, that click would have
No, I did HVAC my whole life. That was no furnace.
Yeah, the furnace.
My father's master builder says.
That dude, it sounded like somebody just threw a rock at me or hit the wall next to me. But
Was
it
that
sounded
you?
The furnace is shut off. The power shut off
Yeah.
to it.
That sounded like a rock was like.
Oh, the power of the furnace is off?
Yeah.
It definitely sounded like something like
It
chipped or
sounded
hit
like,
something.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that
Did
was
somebody
me.
just throw something at me?
Don't you?
You trying to scare me?
Here, so watch out for
Oh,
that.
that's what I keep doing.
Either something just touched my head or that was a spider web. Ask.
Is there anybody here down here with us?
You just touch my hand.
Is there any kids down here?
Somebody just touch your hand.
Aware of?
Something just touched my pinky, but
His hands are in his pockets.
alright.
What is going on?
What?
That was on the concrete.
What was dude?
I felt that. You know how somebody steps next to you and you can feel the thud through your body? I
Yeah.
felt that through my body. And it's weird because it's over here. That was over here where the stairs are. So it's not like over here, like where there's pipes over my head. That was over here. And I don't think there's even pipes under the stairs. No, there's not. What is that about?
Stupid. I'll show you how to do that.
As you can see, nothing has changed. I've been standing just like this.
Oh, can I do live on Facebook?
Interesting.
All over the house gets, EMF everywhere. I've never been to a spot that I've seen that.
Wow.
Been in haunted hospitals, TB clinics, nothing.
How do I
Who's back here with me? Whose energy is this?
There's no wires there, right?
That's why I was telling you, like, you almost can't even use these in this house because they just go
How many
off.
times have we been to places and that has not once gone off? Not once.
I'll hold it out like this. Never seen that ever in my life. And now it's going faster. It's rating higher.
Hello? This is Kent. Who's down here in the basement with us?
Because you're their buddy.
You. There's
That's
no
not
way.
me, I wasn't moving.
No, you weren't even remotely close enough to it. No, watch that guard right off.
Who's down here in the basement with us?
Wonder if we should.
I just heard a girl's voice upstairs, I swear to God.
Who's down here with us?
something right on it right now.
Let's talk for a minute and then as soon as she started talking.
As soon as I said your name again, I said Ken. It went off immediately at the cemetery. Just like that. Just like that. Are you guys happy that we're down here trying to talk with you? I'm here trying to talk. I'm here trying to talk.
Yeah. What are you wanting? Be careful.
Careful, yeah.
What's down here? To be careful now.
That was your obvious that said be careful?
Yep.
Alright, so usually when a spirit says be careful, that's not good.
Like they want us to leave or
That means something's here that's non-human.
warning us about something.
Should Kent be concerned about what's going on in this basement lately?
When doing paranormal investigations, I never invite spirits to touch me. Inviting a spirit to touch you opens the door to physical contact, opening yourself up on a personal level with these spirits. Many times a human spirit will touch you regardless, but to make physical contact with a demonic entity, you must first give them this invitation. Once you invite them to make physical contact, you can open yourself up for physical attacks. When people come to the Lamb House, I warn them not to invite spirits to touch them. Due to many dark encounters in this house, we don't always know what kind of spirits we're dealing with in the moment. Some paranormal investigators will come to the Lamb House and will innocently ask spirits to touch them. They do get touched, but sometimes dark entities will also touch them. Such was the case in the basement the other night.
This has just got that, like, creepy, musty smell. I welcome you to come touch me. Touch my hand.
Sound like a girl's voice.
Oh my God, my hand. It's like I almost, it was so static. Come on. Will you come talk to me, please? Pretty, please? I've come come an awful long way to talk to you.
Are you guys down here?
Ah!
What's the matter?
Something just hit the back of my leg.
Are you guys down here?
Ah!
Janice thought a rock was thrown at the back of her leg. After carefully looking over the recordings, nothing hit the back of her leg. Nothing landed on the floor behind her. But right before the back of her leg was hit, we see something in the recording that is quite troubling. A skull face with deep dark eye sockets. This looks to be the exact face that recently appeared on the steps upstairs. The stairs is directly above this portion of the basement. After slowing down the recording and enhancing, right before Janice was hit in the back of the leg, voices were captured.
Myrna, are you here?
Abby, are you here?
Hi, Abby, if you're here. Edmund, what did you do with the head?
Where's the head? We're looking for your head, Abby. Abby.
Edmund, come say hi to me.
Oh God, I'd love to provoke.
Are you down here? Give me a name.
Behind what?
Behind.
Yeah.
Behind who?
Are you in the crawl space?
On this night when everyone left the house, I was in my office putting up the cameras, calling it a night. Out of nowhere, what sounded like an animal choking could be heard. The sound wasn't coming from any specific direction. There were moments the sound was right in front of my face, or sounded like it was swirling around my head. I could also hear fast-talking disembodied voices. I quickly hit record. The next day, while uploading the recordings from the SD cards from the night before, the smoke detector was going off in the kitchen. Nobody was home. There was no reason why the smoke detector should go off. I walked into the kitchen. When I approached the smoke detector, it stopped. I walk back to my office, it goes off again. As I'm approaching the smoke detector once again, it stops. I go back to my office, again the smoke detector goes off. I hit record on my cell phone. Are you kidding me? A few moments later, another smoke detector goes off in the house. I hit record. Seriously? Later that evening, as I'm relaxing in my bedroom, now a spirit wants to play with the lamp. Playing with the light? What are the odds? And you know what? It's obviously spirits are wanting my attention. I set up a camera in the dining room. At this time, I only have one camera fully charged. I was curious if these spirits had anything they wanted to say. Okay, we're back on live.
Okay. We've had the device go off, the temperature gauge and the lights in that section. We were asking a few questions. We also had the spirit box speaker died. It was completely completely charged. We charged at the hotel too.
Everything's
It just died.
Everything's going off and
everything is just going
So is this too.
Sorry.
Just
Are you
everything.
guys reacting to Kent being here?
That went off with the lights on it and the temperature. That's also showing temperature readings. If you want to ask some stuff as well, Ken, I mean, have at it. It's great because they,
You
you
sit
know,
down here.
they react for you a lot better too.
You guys, I'm back. Hello?
Is that behind me? See,
Temperature
look,
doesn't move
it's not
that.
Because if I move away
difference.
from it, it's not.
Is that the REM pod going off
that's over
again?
here.
Yeah, that's the
fine.
temperature, but we've had the lights going off here in the chair. We were on each side of it and it went up to yellow and spiked to red on video, and then we heard a noise over in the tunnel, so we swapped the REM pod over there. So we've been getting a lot of stuff down here.
And Ken, I fired up, because our spirit box that we usually use died, the speaker did,
Mm-hmm.
so it's not screwing.
It's fully charged.
I fired up the necrophonic act, but I'm still on the fence about it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it did nothing but say can't.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, numerous times.
Clear, Kent.
And then
Clear.
with necrophonic, I had necrophonic on the floor there, and we had the temperature gauge over there. While the temperature gauge was going off, my necrophonic app was saying things like "that's me" and stuff like that. Like, so they were definitely using it.
So you were getting intelligent responses on it?
100%, yeah. Yeah, and I mean, we'll have to go back, obviously, and take a look at the video, but it was non-stop through the app, and it was so fast and so much that it was hard to catch everything. And now I got the REM pod going off here. But yeah, just a lot of responses.
Maybe you ought to try that app again, see what happens. I'm curious.
Necrophonic, you want to
Yeah.
check it out? Alright.
Let's try that, yeah, if you wanna try, I mean, if you wanna try it again, if not,
Certainly,
I can
yes.
go upstairs and get
No,
my
yeah,
spirit
sure.
box speakers.
I like
Oh,
it.
well,
Here,
yeah, we'll try necrophonic, and then,
let's try it. I just heard it. I thought.
Okay, I just heard demon get.
yeah, this said hunger on it, and then it said run, flight.
They didn't want me and him down here. There's no
Your-
reason for that.
Yeah.
Ovulus said that?
said
Okay, is
hunger. It said hunger, flight, run, go away immediately. I have that on video. I can show you after.
okay,
There's
It said
something.
go
yeah,
away.
it's not good in here tonight.
it's not good in the basement?
No.
It just said greetings on my Oculus.
Edward.
It reacts a lot to Kent, whatever's down here. Just for the first 20 minutes, it was awfully quiet as soon as he left.
Yeah.
But let's listen to these people. Leave, did you hear that?
Wave,
Leave, did you hear that?
wave. Demon?
The energy in here tonight is not. It's just negative. It's just the whole time me and him were down here. See what I'm saying?
It was really bad when I was
I'm not
down
saying
here.
that proves it's negative, but it's like the more you talk about anything negative down here, and the more things start to happen. I don't know what's up with it down here. Are there spirits trapped in this basement down here?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did something touch me when I was down here earlier?
Why are you guys trapped in this basement? What happened in here?
Who was murdered?
Was there a murder down here?
I feel like that's confirmation.
Were you killed down here?
Somebody said I am here, man.
That's going off the sensor, that's different, that's the actual light. So that means something's next to it right now. AUNT. That's pretty consistent.
Blood again.
Oh, by the way, Kent, I started asking about Abby's head in kind of an assertive type way, like, what's up with Abby's head? And that's when his stuff was saying, like, leave, get out,
Let
and
go
this
away.
was saying stuff like that at the same time. It was like they didn't want me asking. Whoever.
All right, let me ask some questions real quick.
Yeah. Go for it. Check this out.
What is going on with Abby's head? Abby? Why do you guys keep bringing up Abby's head?
Pendant.
I have a cross on.
Abby, are you here?
I just heard Abby. Something Abby.
I don't have a recorder going down here.
Oh, that's all in blue. That's
Yeah,
how
I
it
can.
whoa. That's how it was in the tunnel. There's nobody.
Go away, be careful, run, flight, was the ones that we've gotten so far down here. Go away. Right as
So-
soon as we started.
So
go away.
every response you're getting on that obulus is a warning?
Is a warning.
Or that is not human. I started a mental leave. We never have malfunctions.
No.
Your camera hasn't worked. Your speaker
Like,
didn't
the
work.
2 cameras upstairs wouldn't work.
Ken, I was telling her about when you turned as you were walking down the stairs that one time and you saw the mist here.
Uh-huh.
And then when you looked into it, it was,
Have you ever asked the children if they like wanted to play or something? Like,
No.
no.
you don't want to play with them.
Well, it's not that. Is that I don't ever try to get with these spirits on a personal level.
Yeah. Alright, so yeah, I think up here the spirit box is really the way to go.
Yeah, I would
The
just.
REM pod though, like, it's crazy. We're at this house and
You
the REM
left
pod's
Ken,
going
and that did
off.
not go off once.
The REM
Really?
pod is going off.
That's kind of troubling.
And we're all sitting here like, oh yeah, whatever. That's not normal. That is not normal.
So that's the one that detects if something's by it.
Yes, you can leave that thing in your bedroom while you sleep at night. If
It'll
there's
never
nothing
go
in your
off.
room, nothing will happen. This is not normal. This is the only place I've ever seen this. Wow.
The light
I
hurts.
heard that.
Ask if the house is haunted. Yeah, they heard me.
I keep hearing the light.
They don't. They might want the light on, or they may not like that camera light. One of the two.
Let's turn on the light. Did they say
I
yeah?
thought I heard yeah.
I just said let's turn on the light and they said yeah. Yeah, you spirits have used this spirit box quite a few times, am I right? Right.
Right as soon as I
heard
turned it
you.
off.
Oh,
Damn
you
it.
turned the video off?
Yeah, I hit stop record. So I was gonna put it on a tripod.
So who hangs out up here usually?
Myrna Fahey, are you by chance here?
I thought I heard I am.
Please help me.
I just heard a child, little girl child. Please help me. Who needs help? We do. You heard that? I don't know. I'm not sure that we could help you. I don't know what could we do to help you. Ed.
I'm here. What about Mike? What about Mike? Do you know about him? Incidents like this confirm the reality just how real these spirits are. Before we started the basement investigation, My nephew called me and broke the news. My brother Mike was admitted in the hospital with a massive staph infection. They also found his cancer came back with a vengeance. Did these spirits hear the phone conversation? Or do they know things in the spirit realms we fully don't understand? Two of the investigators asked if they could conduct an investigation in the basement alone, without me. I told them I don't have a problem with this, but please do not provoke these spirits. After the Southwest Harbor investigation, visitors came to the Lamb House to conduct an investigation. While in the basement, one of the men challenged a demon to appear in front of him, inviting him to come through the dark portal in the basement. I quickly stopped him and told him not to invite these entities into the house. We have to live in this house. Regardless, he continued to provoke these spirits, asking a demon to come touch him. I shut their investigation down and escorted them out of the house. I noticed this man was wearing a satanic pentagram necklace. I later discovered he practiced Satanism. It was after this incident the activity in the Lamb House went dark again. But on this night, I allowed these two investigators to conduct their investigation in the basement without me. They wanted the lights out in the basement. I set up a night vision camera, this one here, which got shut off right after I left the basement. But I also set up a second night vision camera on the top of the stairs of the basement. The rest of us head to the upstairs of the garage. On this night, a paranormal investigator crossed a line and will never be the same again. Elizabeth came to say hi. Since you're standing there in the middle and you're in the camera view.
Might as well.
Last night, you decided to touch me.
I know you can be more active than this.
Hello?
Can you please come touch my hand? You hear that? Can you slap my hand?
Hello?
Come on. I'm giving you permission to touch me. Now you're not going to do it. Something touched the back of my head.
You don't quite like new people, huh?
Sure.
You hit me in the back of the leg last night. Can you slap me in the face? Slap me in the cheek. Touch my face.
Is this where some people was buried under the house here? Is there a portal under the house?
I don't know, I don't know if I saw a reflection, but I saw something that flew right towards you.
Okay.
Come on. You touched me last night. I want you to do it again. What's the matter?
Here's my hand right here, touch it.
Light up my K2. Touch his hand. Let him experience it. Can you do what you did last night? Because you know what? I really starting to think that you didn't do anything last night.
Is there a shadow figure down here?
You guys are.
You here.
Saw something right there.
Just don't want to make yourself known.
All right, I want to take another tact with this. Out of respect for Kent, I'm not going to piss you off. Okay? Out of respect, he asked no provoking. I respect that. Do something. Push me. Play with my hair. Okay? Come on. Oh!
You alright?
Something push me. Oh!
You alright?
Something push me. Oh! Holy crap, that was 10 times the force I felt.
There are some who question the validity of these Lamb House encounters and underestimate the reality of these spirits. I warn people who come to the Lamb House, do not provoke these spirits. When I first started these investigations, I too underestimated what would happen if these spirits were provoked. I learned by my mistakes not to provoke these spirits. And you don't always know what you're dealing with in this basement. This is not the first time a strange anomaly has been captured in the Lamb House. This exact entity has appeared before. How long have you been a paranormal investigator?
About 20 years now.
Why did you ask these spirits to slap you in the face or push you?
I wanted the experience. I wanted them to prove to me that they were there.
Do you feel like you underestimated the Lamb House when you asked them that?
Oh my God, did I ever, yes.
When you were down there in the basement, I heard on the recording that you said you saw something at one point. What did you see?
When I was down there in the dark?
Yes.
Okay, I remember being in the corner and I had my little flashlight and I turned it on because I heard a noise, and as soon as I turned it on, there was this black shadow, and it looked like it ducked behind that little brick wall that's down there. That's why I said I just saw something. I see it, but it just disappeared.
When you were pushed in the basement, did this really shock you that this happened?
Yes, it did. I was honestly not expecting it. There was a lot of force behind that push. I've been touched, I've been pushed before, but this was there was a lot of power, there was a lot of force behind that push, because it pushed me over. I had lost my balance, and I've never had that happen before. Without a doubt, probably the most active place I have ever been. And I've been to quite a few places, but I have never, ever experienced the disembodied voices and the whispering. I mean, that as a constant, it was just never ending. There's always a spirit talking. When you go in to investigate the Lamb House, you have to have a healthy respect for what is in the house. You can't go in there thinking you're going to be the boss and demanding this, because they will attack, as they did to me. You have to have a healthy respect for any spirit that's in the house, because, like I said, they will attack. Getting the chance to come in and investigate the Lamb House, it is truly an experience that I will never, ever forget. There's just no way to ever forget it. The amount of activity and interaction is just mind-blowing.
I have mentioned in recent videos there are things that's going on behind the scenes from these investigations that I don't talk about. I've also mentioned that talking about this stuff on YouTube is not the proper place. I'm going to go ahead and talk about something. This is something I really didn't want to have to bring up, but I feel like it's important that everyone understands the situation and what has gone on with these encounters in this house, especially when they talk about the blood. These spirits asking for blood is very disturbing. What's even more disturbing, these spirits are coming to me wanting blood. I believe there are spirits trapped in dark realms of the afterlife. I know some of these spirits, when alive, were involved with things that caused them to become trapped. They performed death rituals using blood. They also used human remains of the dead to perform these rituals. When these spirits say they took Abby's head, there is a very good chance this did happen. But why are these spirits coming to me asking for blood? During the Southwest Harbor investigation, these encounters changed. When my mother heard about these paranormal investigations and what was going on, she warned me to get out of the Lamb House. She went on to say I have no idea what I'm getting myself involved in. I thought she said all this based on her faith in the teachings of the Catholic Church, but later on, come to find out, my mother held a family secret. She decided it was time to let the family secret out. What she said left me in total shock. I stopped all investigations until I could process this information. My mother believes the family has been cursed by spirit attachments through the actions of my grandmother Burris, my dad's mother. After the Southwest Harbor investigations, I find out my grandmother Burris practiced a dark form of witchcraft, performing death rituals, and held seances contacting spirits from other realms. Not only was my grandmother involved in this, but my dad as well. When my mother and dad were married, my dad brought my mother to Grandma Burris's house. My dad pulls out a Ouija board. Along with my grandmother, they hold a seance. In a dark room with candles lit, they invited spirits to come join them in our realm. My mother told me this night my dad became possessed by an entity. My mother felt a very evil presence in the room. My mother believed spirits and other entities attached themselves to the family, and these attachments would follow the family from generation to generation. My mother wanted away from all of this. Eventually my family moved to California. When I was 7 years old, my mother and dad divorced. My mother kept my oldest brother and sister. My dad moved my brother Mike and I from California. We went to live at my grandmother Burris's. While living at my grandmother Burra's home, for 2 years I slept in the living room on the couch. For the first time in my life, I was experiencing things that were not normal. Alone in the living room, at night I would see dark images of what looked like people walking through my grandmother's home. There were times I even heard voices talking. For 2 years I felt like I was living in a repeated nightmare. I talked with other family members about what was going on in the living room at night. They said I have an overreacting imagination. As years went by, I convinced myself this was all in my imagination. None of this was real. Ghosts are not real. Hauntings do not exist. Eventually, these memories were buried and forgotten. Until we moved here. This was the beginning of a long-term investigation looking for answers to explain paranormal encounters. The more I did these investigations, and the more I understood what was going on, the more powerful these encounters became. But after learning my grandmother was a witch in her younger years, and my dad also practiced dark rituals, opening portals into spirit realms, I stopped doing these investigations in order to process this disturbing information. The way these spirits in the Lamb House respond to me, I had to ask, because of my grandmother and my dad's actions, is it possible the family curse my mother spoke of, spirits attached to the family? Is this real? Am I following in my family's footsteps? By investigating this activity, did this open a dark portal? And whatever spirit attached itself to my family, has this come back to life once again? There is no doubt something happened in this basement, and in this house that opened spirit realms. Doorways to human spirits, and a portal into a very dark realm where spirits are trapped. I believe when the actions of those who created these portals stopped, over time these portals weakened, eventually became dormant. However, after the former owners sold the house in 1997, new residents moved in. A young lady used a Ouija board in the house in attempts to contact spirits. There is no doubt her action gave these portals life once again. I was told this young lady used this Ouija board in the witch's window room and in the basement. Sometime after moving out of the house, Kevin, a former resident, moves in. Kevin experienced events in this house that left him and others terrified.
Well, it started out, with my dog, would see things growl, staring up at nothing was there, but it'd be intense growling, teeth showing, looking around up there, and I'd be sitting on my couch over there, and I'd always saw somebody walking by, every time I was sitting at night, out of my peripheral vision. Yeah. And everybody I had to stay the night that slept on the couch would see the same thing, so I know it wasn't just me. After the dog was gone, they moved. That's when things really picked up, and I'd hear the loud footsteps, upstairs. Mm-hmm. And down here, I was sleeping on the couch, and it come from the kitchen, stomp, 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 and come right over, and I felt something heavy on my chest, like it was holding me down, couldn't move, and it felt like it was choking me, it scared the crap out of me. I got up and left that night. I had a woman friend with me, and we're both standing here packing. We started hearing cupboard doors open. We both seen the cupboard doors open, and I mean all of them at the same time open and slammed. Yeah. And my brother came, he doesn't believe in none of this. And he came, I told him what happened to me about, the stones across the floor and getting on me. He'd laughing at me, didn't believe it. Same thing happened to him. He got up and left that night, wouldn't stay either.
Another former resident talked with me about their terrifying experiences as well. Once you acknowledge this activity, it just gets stronger. The activity in this house was going on way before I ever moved to Maine. I concluded my actions by investigating this activity was not the cause of opening these portals. But by acknowledging this activity, it did become stronger, and the more information I uncovered, the more these spirits talked. I don't know if this family curse, spirits' attachments, are real or not, but I can't help but to question, do these entities know of my family's past?
Hello? Can you verify to me that you're here, please? I have new devices that will activate, that will verify to me that you're here.
Does this mean you're next to me? I'll take that as a yes. All right, thank you. Thank you. You can back up from the devices now, please. I think you verified to me that you're here. Is there anything you wanted to say before I start this spirit box session? I want to ask about the blood. The heck is going on with this? What? Hello? What do you guys want to tell me? What do you want to talk about when it comes down to this blood? What's going on with this? Were you guys aware of my grandmother being a witch? These spirits that are asking for help, do they think I have some type of abilities to help them? Do you believe some type of blood ritual will free you from being trapped? Edmund, are you here? I know exactly what happened in this basement. I know what was done. I want to make something very clear. I had nothing to do with this. Neither did my family. I will not participate in any type of blood ritual for the opening of this portal. Now listen to me closely. This is what I believe. And I stand on this belief firmly. And I will not waver on my belief. You keep asking for blood. You keep wanting blood. Obviously, because there are those of you who are trapped. Obviously, because there are those of you who are trapped. But this is my belief. Blood was spilled over 2,000 years ago for redemption. And in my belief, that's the only way a person could have had redemption. And I stand on this belief. I don't want to hear about blood anymore. I don't want this brought up anymore in this house. Do you understand this? I said what's needed to be said. I don't want to hear any more about blood. Because of my grandmother and my father's involvement practicing the dark art of witchcraft, opening portals and communicating with spirits, do these entities in the Lamb House believe I have some kind of ability passed down through the bloodline of my grandmother to help them? If this is the case, I find this very disturbing. I do want to make something very clear. I don't have any special abilities when it comes to the paranormal. But I can honestly say, there is no way this is all a coincidence.
Oh! Something pushed me. Ah!